еще 2 такта. Вот, и вчера ты тоже так сделал. Пожалуйста.
Galina Turchinina was very strong, and every day new program, concert. It was very difficult time. But I was so happy he was talent. I give him all my life, all.
I really hated practicing. That was something that I couldn't understand why I should do.
I told, play, Maxim, play. I in the kitchen, Maxim, play.
So I practiced for my mom. I said, I'm practicing just for you, because I love you.
Когда еще будучи, ему было 5 лет, пришли ко мне на урок утром, 10 часов утра, вроде не так уже рано. Я смотрю, он руки опустил, глаза у него сонные, и никак не поднимается, не играет, стоит. Непонятно, что с ним. И он вдруг говорит, а меня ночью заставили заниматься. Как ночью? А мама тут была с ним на уроке, она говорит, да, надо же каждый день 3 часа позаниматься. Мы с мужем были на работе целый день. Мы пришли, дали ему вечером немножечко поспать, а потом с 11 до 2 часов ночи мы занимались, надо 3 часа было заниматься.
And then, when Maxim was 11, Professor Bron, Zahar Bron, left Moscow Conservatoire and came to Novosibirsk to teach. And I took Maxim to him. And he looked at Maxim, oh, this, it's good for next project.
Professor Braun gave me his stage experience. Sometimes I feel that lessons with him was a little bit like karate. I didn't know what's going to happen next minute. This minute he would tell me to play like that. Next minute he changed his mind. And I remember the first concert he already told me how to be on stage, how to actually survive. That was the main point. I learned so much from him. One of the first times coming out of Russia to the Western countries, it was the Schleswig-Holstein Festival in Germany. And I remember coming there with Kisin, great pianist and wonderful friend of mine. We shared the recitals, we shared the concertos, and we had a wonderful, great relationship with him.
I first heard him in a class of Professor Braun in Lübeck in 1990, and next day I started to negotiate with his management. Because for me, not only his technical ability, but also his profound musicality was so convincing, and which was very unusual in his age, that they have already this inner, deep musicality, that I was completely convinced that he will be one of the big violinists of this century.
There is always that degree of what I would call ecstasy in his playing. If you take a piece like the Meditation from Thais, it's the most ravishing melody which absolutely explores all a great violinist can do in terms of those wonderfully sweet, refined sounds in the high positions that are such a speciality of Vengerov.
He's not relying on haircuts, he's not relying on funny clothing, he's relying on his music making, he's speaking through his music. And he is, I would say, an old-fashioned artist.
I think the great conductors somehow recognize in Vengerov a quality which is, if you like, a throwback to the great ones of the past, the Heifetz kind of school, which really marries the style to the technique. I think that's the reason why conductors like Abado and Rostropovich and Mater and Daniel Barenboim so latch onto him.
My collaboration with Daniel Barenboim actually started about 4 years ago. For the first time I played in the orchestra hall in Chicago, Brahms concerto. He mentioned performing, have a recital with him playing piano. Would I be interested? I said, oh wow, that would be my dream to come and play with him.
Daniel Barenboim is music director of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra and Berlin Staatskapelle. He himself was a child prodigy pianist and went on to perform memorable recitals with his late wife, Jacqueline Dupre.
The first time he played for me, he was 16 years old, and he played for me Tchaikovsky Concerto and the Bach Chaconne. The Tchaikovsky Concerto was good. Frankly, not special. But the Bach Chaconne, there was a seriousness, there was a sort of feeling for structure, there was a feeling for what is right that really left me dumbfounded.
We chose to perform Brahms' sonata because it shows the drama. It's like a symphony for piano and the violin. He plays piano, he's a conductor, he's a music man. There is so much treasure to learn from him. I adore Daniel as a pianist, and the way he plays, he sounds like an orchestra. And each time I play with him, we looked at the rehearsal at many things. We have a musical conversation by adjusting to each other.
The most important thing in music is the transition. It's very easy to play, not easy, but it's easier to fathom what is of a certain character and what is of another character. But it's the link between the two, that it grows up or that it comes down organically, so that it becomes inevitable. Let's play once more.
movement is very complex and very dramatic. The whole movement is a search. And even Brahms, while writing it, he didn't know consciously how he wanted to arrive to the places that he arrives. And while playing with Barenboim, I noticed that he and we both wanted to keep this feeling of this instability as long as we can.
It's like when you leave home as a young person and you come back much later after having made your life. The home is the same, looks the same, and yet it is different. It is different because of the way you perceive it. It is different because of the journey.
It is really like a circle that you go, you find your way, and then you find yourself again in the same place as you started. We're just like circling, and then in the end, after that everything is passes, again we are here we are, and that's how is the movement finishes. It's a very magical movement.
Maxim's teacher has come specially from Moscow for his first recital with Daniel Barenboim.
This is my teacher, Galina Turchaninova. So I haven't seen her for two years. You know, so she says her beloved student. Oh, it's so wonderful.
Ой,
No.
рада каждой встрече, чем дальше, тем больше. Его мастерство переросло все мои возможности. В данном случае я ему уже ничего сказать не могу. Есть такое знаменитое выражение, что каждый педагог должен стараться как можно раньше стать ненужным своему ученику. И фактически Максим давно уже не нуждается в педагогах. Фактически он где-то с 16 лет уже один. Я свое дело сделал. И его творческое развитие происходит при контактах с замечательными дирижерами, пианистами, такими как Barenboim.
You like it? Oh, yeah. Because it gives you a step for the double stop.
Это уже очень высокий степень художественного развития.
There's an element of curiosity in what he does and an element of courage. It takes a lot of courage not to try and repeat what you did yesterday, knowing that it was successful. You need a violinist